Othverak, The Meeting in the Ditch. Episode 1. Zurek couldn't remember the last time he had walked through a forest sober. Maybe a year ago, maybe 2. Time had stopped meaning much somewhere around Zrajtrek, when the world lost its magic and he lost everything else. First his purpose, then his companions, then himself. What remained were boots with a splitting sole, a sword he hadn't drawn in months, and the habit of ordering the next drink before the previous one went cold. Tonight the forest was dark and indifferent. The trees stood too close together. Roots surfaced exactly where he placed his feet, and the moon hid behind clouds, as though it had somewhere better to be. Zurek walked without direction, the tavern behind him, the village behind the tavern, and ahead of him only darkness and the sound of wind moving through branches and that pleasant, dull numbness that comes after the 4th drink. He used to know these forests. Now they looked like every other piece of Othverak, familiar but hollow inside, as if someone had removed something essential and forgotten to say what. He tripped over the same protruding root for the 3rd time and swore quietly. He stopped, leaned against a tree, and looked up at a patch of sky between the clouds. Where was he going? Nowhere specific. To the next village, the next tavern, the next place where nobody asked what happened to the night he used to be. Then he heard breathing. Deep, heavy, uneven, as if something very large was trying not to make any sound and doing it very poorly. Each inhale was distinct. Each exhale a little too long. Zurek's hand moved to his sword hilt. Reflex, not decision. The breathing came from the right, from below, from an old ditch running alongside the path. Overgrown and forgotten, like everything in this part of Othverak. He could have kept walking. He should have kept walking. He walked to the ditch. A dragon lay there. Red, though in this light it was hard to say for certain. Large, but not as large as the ones from stories Zurek had heard as a child. More like a tired, battered version of something that used to be dangerous. The left wing folded under the body at a wrong angle. Scales on the side scratched and cut, as if someone had pressed a knife with an uncertain hand. From the nostrils came no fire, only steam. Weak and irregular, like a sick horse on a winter morning. The dragon opened one eye, gold, large, alert in a way that surprised Zurek. He had expected animal pain, maybe panic. Instead, in that one gold eye was something very close to dignity and unmistakable embarrassment, as if the dragon would have preferred nobody find him here. "Go away," the dragon said. The voice was low, raspy, with the particular sound of someone who hadn't spoken to anyone in a long time. "There's nothing to see here." Zurek looked around demonstratively. Ditch, dragon, forest. There's a dragon in a ditch. Sharp observation. Leave. Zurek crouched at the edge. The dragon's side was cut not very deep, but badly enough to hurt with every breath. Blood mixed with mud. The wing lay at an angle that suggested either broken or badly torn. Neither option was good. "How long have you been lying here?" "Not your business." "How much time do you have before they come back?" The dragon didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. Zurek stood slowly and looked into the darkness beyond. Somewhere out there were hunters. There were always hunters, since magic left Othverak. Creatures once too dangerous to touch had become too easy to ignore. Dragons without fire, griffins without power. Large bodies, valuable skin, zero risk. A fair trade, some people said. Zurek didn't share that view. He climbed down into the ditch. "What are you doing?" the dragon said. Not a question, a warning. Looking at the wound. Zurek crouched beside the dragon's side, not touching, just looking. Up close, it looked better than he feared. Maybe 2 fingers deep, unclean, but no vital organ likely damaged. Ugly, but shallow. If it doesn't get infected, you'll survive. I know. That's why I'm telling you to leave. I'll manage. When are they coming back? Long silence. Wind moved through the tree canopy above the ditch. Before dawn, the dragon said at last. Quieter, as if the admission cost something concrete. There are 4 of them. One has a crossbow. Zurek nodded. He pulled a strip of cloth from his pack, rolled at the bottom of his gear as a bandage that never got used. It wasn't perfect. It was enough. Don't touch me, the dragon growled. I'm not going to touch you, but if you bleed through the night, they'll find you by smell before they even wake up. Silence. Shorter this time. Do what you want, the dragon muttered, and demonstratively turned its head the other way. Zurek worked quickly and quietly. The wound was nasty but shallow. Whoever did this wanted to weaken, not kill. A live dragon is worth more than a dead one, at least for someone with the right contacts at the right market. Zurek had seen those markets. He'd rather not have. What's your name? The dragon said, still looking the other way. Zurek. A knight? I was. The dragon didn't comment. In Othverak, after Zrastrek, the word was explained enough. Everyone used to be something. Priests without gods, shamans without spells, guards without the magic they protected. A world full of people living in a past that the present had no room for. Rosol, the dragon said after a moment. What? Me. My name is Rosol. Zurek tied the last knot and moved back. Rosol. Strange name for a dragon. Zurek is a strange name for a knight. Former knight. Former, Rosol repeated, as if tasting the word. They sat in silence for a while. The ditch smelled of earth and moss and something metallic. Somewhere far away, an owl did what owls do at night. Zurek pulled out his flask, took a drink, put it away without thinking. Why are you here? The dragon said. Almost casual, but the gold eye was watching Zurek carefully. In this forest, with no direction, at night, alone. The tavern was too expensive. That's a lie. Zurek looked at the dragon. Rosol watched him calmly, no aggression, no amusement, simply stating a fact. I have nowhere to go, Zurek said finally. Simpler than he intended, but the flask was doing its work. Neither do I. Rosol rested its head on the ground. No wings, no power, in a forest full of hunters. Options are limited. You sensed something, remnants of magic. The dragon lifted its head slightly. How do you know? You didn't say anything, but I can tell by the way you've been turning your ears in one direction every half minute. Rosol closed its mouth, opened it, closed it again. Fair enough? Yes, there's something. Weak, scattered, like an echo of something that was loud a long time ago. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know roughly where. Not far from here. A spark, Zurek said quietly. He'd heard about it, rumors, drunken conversations in taverns, places where the magic hadn't completely disappeared, that you could sense them if you had the right gift. Maybe something like that. Rosol answered carefully. I don't know what I'll do when I get there, but I want to know. You can't get there alone. No. The wing. Zurek stared ahead into the darkness. His lack of direction, a dragon that couldn't fly, something that might be magic in the forest, hunters returning before dawn, pieces that fit together in a way he hadn't planned and that he was a little afraid of. I have nowhere to go, he said finally. You can't walk alone. It's a stupid idea for us to go together. Very stupid, Rosol agreed immediately. Then let's go. A branch cracked between the trees. Both froze at the same moment. Silence, the real kind. Tense, the kind where the forest holds its breath along with those who are listening. Zurek slowly drew his sword. First time in months. The metal was cold in his hand, heavier than he remembered. Rosol lifted its head, lips drawing back to reveal teeth that were impressive even without fire and power. Old instincts remembered in the body. Footsteps, 4 pairs. Confident, people who don't expect resistance coming back to finish the job. What happened over the next few minutes wasn't pretty. 4 hunters, 1 wounded dragon, and 1 drunk former knight isn't material for a fireside song. But when the last of them disappeared between the trees in a panic, Zurek stood at the edge of the ditch with his sword in hand and his breathing slowly returning to normal. And with something strange in his chest, something warm and old and almost forgotten, something that felt like being needed, something that felt like a reason. Rosol looked up at him from below, gold eye in the darkness of the ditch, calm and appraising. You fight well, for a former. Zurek sheathed his sword. You bite well too, for a powerless one. I'm not powerless, the dragon growled, but without conviction. I'm temporarily limited. Of course. Zurek sat back down at the edge of the ditch and leaned against a tree trunk. The sky to the east was beginning to lighten, not dawn yet, but the first suggestion of it. That gray hour before daybreak that is neither night nor morning. In the tree canopy, the first bird began to sing, off-key, as always at this hour. Sleep, Rosol said quietly. I'll listen. Dragons don't sleep at night? This one doesn't. Not tonight. Zurek didn't answer. He leaned his head against the trunk and closed his eyes. Sleep came faster than he expected. Deep, heavy, without dreams. Rosol lay in the ditch and listened to the forest. Somewhere at the edge of its perception, quiet as a breath, it felt that echo, that remnant, that something that was waiting. Othverak slept that night as it did every night, tired and hollow and convinced that nothing would ever change. Somewhere deep inside it, barely perceptibly, something stirred.